Alright guys, so here's the coolant ring. Now I ran into some issues with this elbow here, and I went down to my local hardware store to see if I could find some fittings, and all I could find was brass, and I really wanted to stay away from brass, but I thought, well, I'll just get it and see how it works. But this piece here, this nipple here, is a steel nipple that came with the Precision Matthews. It screwed into the back of the table on the left hand side, I believe, for the pocket drain. I never did use it, I just unscrewed it. But this hose barb, I was going to stick the 1/2 inch hose or 5/8 inch hose over this, but you can see when I screwed this on here, it was big, and it's kind of heavy because it's brass, and then the brass also will turn your coolant green. So I drew this up in Fusion 360. This is just an aluminum elbow. It's 1/4 inch MPT on this end, and then I just drew this little hose barb and machined it out. So let's go over, we'll take a look and see how I machine this. Alright, so the hose will just slide over this, hopefully. I probably can open this up and make it a little bit bigger. there's an elbow. We got to come back and we're going to thread this, and then this will be for our hose, and we should be able to add that to the coolant ring. And I just tapped it by hand. But I think this is going to work out really nice. Now it's aluminum, and it's not going to turn my coolant green, and it keeps everything nice and light. So now all we got to do is we got to get a new coolant pump, get it hooked up, get a bigger reservoir, and install this. Now to install this is pretty simple because it's magnetic. I'm still waiting on a couple of more magnets. However, the 4 hold it up there really nice. So that works out really well. So I can get rid of the brass now, and you know, you go to the hardware store. I was looking for plastic. I was looking for anything really. It didn't really matter. Plastic would have been good. I just couldn't find it. I don't know what's going on. I know they have that kind of stuff, but you know, you spend an hour standing around in the store looking for something, and by the time I realized, you know what, I could have just drew this up and made it myself. It took me maybe an hour to make it, and I should have just did that to begin with, and then I wouldn't have had an issue. Now that we've finished our coolant ring, I want to try to improve on my coolant pump. The original coolant pump that I got was from Bolton Tools. I really like the way it was designed as far as the drain and the filter. However, the pump was not really adequate enough for a CNC mill. I think it'd be perfect on my G0602, so I'm going to move it out to there. But for the milling machine, I need a lot more volume and more power. So I bought a 1/4 horsepower coolant pump, but I want to put that on the linear rail conversion. I'm going to be building a nice tank for that. For the original mill, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go with the tote system. This is pretty popular. This is a 12-gallon tote, so it'll be about 3 to 4 times more volume as I had with my original. So let me show you kind of what I've got here. So again, this is just a 12-gallon tote, and I've got a pond pump that I picked up from Harbor Freight. This is a Creekstone submersible waterfall pump. It's 2,500 gallons per hour, and it says that it has a maximum head lift of 19 feet. Now, it was recommended by a gentleman on Instagram and through my YouTube channel, Adapted Machining, and he posted a video on his, I believe he's got a 704 or a PM25, and he's using this for his coolant pump. So he let me know and sent me a link to his video, and I went and checked it out, and it seemed to have sufficient flow. So I think this will be a good substitute for what I've currently have. So I appreciate that information from him. So let me show you what I got. So the drain will come down into this little stair-like container, and then it's going to get pre-filtered with this filter here. Now, I did buy some stainless steel fine mesh just in case this gets clogged. My buddy Chris said that he used this, but it tends to get clogged, and he recommended the stainless steel mesh. So I went ahead and bought some of that just in case. What I've done is I've just kind of cut the bottom of this container, and then I cut a piece of the stainless steel mesh that I'm using in the bottom of my enclosure here for like a pre-filter. So hopefully this is going to drain pretty good and give me a good enough for filtration. I do have a water filter. It's like 50 microns, and I plan on plumbing that all in also with a washdown hose. But alright guys, here is the filter system that I've got hooked up for my coolant tank. Let me go over it real quick. So I've got my intake hose. This is a 1-inch hose. Let me double check. Yeah, 1-inch OD, 3/4 inch ID. I'm going into a spring check valve here. It's a 3/4 inch. I think I got these off Amazon. They were like $6 or something. Pretty inexpensive. Going to a 90 elbow, up to a T with a pressure gauge on here. This is so I can check my differential pressure coming in versus going out of the filter, in the hopes that I'll be able to somehow come up with some kind of formula to let me know when the filter needs to be changed, other than just looking at it. So we're going through your standard water filter. This is a 50 micron element in here. Going up to a T, into another T, and we're splitting off. I'm going into another check valve here. This goes up to my coolant pump, and I'll be able to just shut this off. And then I can divert all of the coolant down to a washdown hose. Now this will be charged all the time, so I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. That may or may not be a good idea. I did use a coupling here that I screwed on, so if I had to, I can unscrew this and then screw in another check ball valve here. Yeah, ball valve. Screw in another ball valve here to turn this off and on, just in case it leaks or something. But Wyatt sent me this, and he said it does a real good job. So I think he picked these up at Lowe's, but I couldn't find them at my Lowe's. This check valve here should keep most of the coolant in the hose going up to the coolant ring, and this one will keep all the filtered water or filtered coolant from backflowing back into the pump, and also keep it primed. It wasn't really too difficult to put together. I decided just to go ahead and do that, and I had some parts I needed to run, but I wanted to go ahead and just get this put in, and my buddy Wyatt kept hassling me about it, so here it is, Wyatt. Alright, so I'm going to get this hooked up, and then we'll see what we've got for coolant flow. Okay guys, quick shot. I got the inlet hose connected here. This is connected to this pond pump that I picked up from Harbor Freight, and goes up to the manifold here. So I'm going to just button this up now. We'll see if we can't see what it looks like. I showed in the last clip this filter box, but I did pick up some of this stainless steel mesh. I think this is 100 micron or number, I don't know how they rated it, like a number 100 or something. But you can see through it. You can see that, you can see through it. But it's pretty fine. Hopefully that will catch all the big stuff, and then keep it from clogging up with the separation and everything from the matted material. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, let me get this all squared away. I don't have a lot of space under there, so I've got to get it all kind of squared away and put back together. But I've got this on the board, and I'm just going to kind of slide it in and out as needed, and then that way it'll be easy to change the filters, or at least that's the intent. My small pump down here, the 3-gallon pump, I'm going to use that on my G0602 and get rid of the pond pump that I got on that setup. At least that's what I think I'm going to do. Alright, so let me get this together. Alright guys, well, the best laid plans don't always work out as you intend. I had saved a piece of garden hose, about, I don't know, just the end that had the threads on it so I could screw it into a nozzle. So I had saved this and was going to use this for my washdown hose. However, I didn't realize there was probably a good reason why I was going to toss this out. It has a hole in it. Of course, I didn't realize the hole was that close to the end. I thought it was somewhere in the middle of a 25 or 50 foot hose. I can't remember how long it was. However, there was a hose. So that didn't work out so good. So I had to make a quick run down to my home, actually Lowe's, and so I just bought some more of this same hose that I'm using up here to go to my coolant pump. This is a 1/2 inch internal diameter. And while I was there, I just went ahead and picked up another shut off so I can shut this off, shut down my washdown hose as well as my coolant up here. So let's see what we've got. So the flow that we had before, okay, well, not impressive, right? This pump just can't handle, there's just not enough coolant flow, which was originally the problem in the first place with the 2 nozzles, so I knew that dividing that by 6 was going to not improve anything. Well, it's very, very low volume, and now you can see we've definitely got some flow. Everything's pointed directly toward the center. We've got plenty of flow. Now you can see that there's one here that's not actually got any flow in it, and that is going to be connected to a air line, and I'll be able to just send a quick air blast out to the part when it's running. And that'll kind of just let me blow the part off whenever I need to. That was all part of Wyatt's idea that he came up with when he did this coolant ring, and seems to work really well. Now, adding this washdown hose also allows me to do some washdown. And you can see I've got a pretty good little stream with this pump. It's good enough for what I need to do, although I don't normally wash down, but it's nice to be able to get in here and get the chips and stuff out of my, let me zoom this out. Oh, wrong way. So it's nice to be able to get in here and wash out all your chips from your vise and stuff like that, instead of having to blow them out. Blowing them out works, but it gets chips everywhere, and when you're using a washdown hose, it kind of, you can direct them where you want them, so a lot easier. This is a nice little nozzle that Wyatt found at Lowe's. Easily turns on and off, and you can adjust it, so if you just want a little bit, you can have a little bit going. So I think this pond pump's going to really solve all my issues as far as the amount of coolant flow I have. So I'm really, really happy that I finally got this up and running and connected. I can see that there's a little moisture all around the ring here, so my seal up there is probably leaking a little bit. I don't think it's critical, but if I want to come back and take it apart and seal my coolant ring, I can do that. So let's pause for about 30 seconds or a minute or so, and then just see how much coolant actually stays retained in the hose. Let me turn this light on. So I can see that it's in my hose here, and then of course the check valve is going to keep it from backflowing back into the filter. It's all in my hose here, so it looks like there's a pretty good amount. I can see that there's coolant in this pump hose. Looks like that's doing a pretty good job of keeping what little bit, this very small chips that come through my pre-screen up top. Looks like that's doing a pretty good job of keeping those in there. Let's see what our pressure differential is, and let's turn this on and see how much coolant stayed in the line. Problem I was having before was I had a real big delay after I changed the tool and started it back up because of the coolant backflowing into the tank. So let's see what we've got, see what kind of delay we got. Here we go, we're going on. Yeah, that's pretty quick, so that's actually really nice. So let's see, we've got 5 psi, almost 5 psi coming out. And about, I don't know, 6 going in. So the pressure will probably increase as the filter gets dirtier. So that's where we're at now. But this should keep all the fines collected so that I don't have any issues with those. No leaks. Had a leak here earlier, but I think we're good now. So yeah. Alright, really excited to get this coolant ring put in action and do some machining. I want to thank Wyatt for the coolant ring idea and helping me out plumbing in this manifold for the filter and all. I want to thank Adapted Machining for suggesting the pond pump. It was a quick fix, and I think it's going to work out really well. Alright guys, I guess that'll wrap up this video. If you're new to my channel and you're just tuning in, you like the video content, click on the subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner. When I post a new video, you'll be notified, and if it's something you're interested in, you can stop by and check it out. As always guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, thumbs up if you like the video, and most importantly, be safe.